health is really important to me. It is really important for my frequency. It is really important for my feel good life, and it is really important for my future. And I haven't been as connected to my health, or haven't been as focused on my health as potentially I should have been, could have been, would have been, whatever. I haven't been focused on it. And this morning when I woke up, it was another morning for me where I woke up feeling dissatisfaction in my life, and the theme that was behind that was health. So I literally sat down with a cup of tea this morning with my pen and paper, and I wrote whatever kind of flowed through me, because I really wanted to lean into why health is important to me. And obviously as humans, we have a certain way of thinking about health, and we tend to think about health as we would think about a car. You know, it's broken, it gets older, it gets rustier, wear and tear, something's broken, take it out, replace it. We tend to think about health like that, rather than as we tend to think of our body as a vehicle, rather than thinking of our body as a complex, regenerating kind of, I want to say culture. I don't know if culture is the right word. But we have so much going on in this body that it far outweighs anything that you could ever, compare it to. You can't compare this body to a car. You can't compare this body to a computer that needs fixing. You can maybe compare this body to something like AI that is just self-learning, it's regenerating, it's growing as it goes. Maybe you can compare it to that. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what I compare it to as we get chatting. But this is really important to me, because I know that one of the things that is really holding me back at the moment is my health, my fatigue, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not kind of finding that kind of like momentum to kickstart me into doing all the things that I know I should do. And sometimes the reason that happens to me is because I have to come back and revisit. I have to come back and revisit and understand why something is important to me. And maybe there's another lesson to learn. Maybe there's something else that I need to get over. Maybe there's some resistance that I'm holding on to that I need to release. And so that's partly what this video is kind of for, because as you know, if you follow my channel, I am a self-projected projector by Human Design, which means I need a place for a sounding board. And sometimes that can be a husband, a friend, a parent, whatever. But more often than not for me, it tends to be some kind of video. And then I do have a secondary part of my gene keys, which tells me that anything that I learn, anything that I know, any wisdom or knowledge that I have is not for me. It passes through me. So some of this as I talk to you will be for you. Some of this as I talk to you will be for me. That's the fun thing about these videos that I create, because there's generally no structure. It generally is a free flow. It generally is storytelling from my perspective and allowing you to what in an ideal world I would love you to do if you were watching my videos is I would love you to be sat quietly. I would love you to be sat with a cup of tea. I would love you to be sat with a notebook. And I would love you to be listening to what I say. And as I speak, as I look into camera, which I don't often do because the camera's there and I look there. As I look into camera, as I speak, you will feel an energy. And that energy can be what we term in social media world as a glimmer or a trigger, but it activates some kind of energy within you. It could be a positive energy, it could be a negative energy, And when that energy comes through and comes to the surface, that is giving you an opportunity to catch it and master it, or push it back down into the body again. And so you're probably here either because you like my vibe and the way that I speak about stuff, or there's something within this that is meant to reach you. And if you have got this far and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, this is a load of rubbish, see you later, that's absolutely fine, because this was not meant for you. So the primary purpose of this is for me. The secondary purpose is that you can use this to help you navigate your own life, your own frequency, your own health, your own whatever. I have no idea why I feel I need to explain myself all the time, but I know that my videos are slightly different to most videos that are out there, because most videos are a coaching video. Do this, do this, do this. I sit here and I go, I don't have your blueprint. I don't know your next step. I know my next step, and by talking about my next step and sharing this information, I trust that it will activate an energy within you which will help you to navigate your next step. And that I am going to open up a service very soon called The Anchor. And that is where I can hold you steady with a weekly check-in and help you navigate that, because this energetic navigation is new to us. Okay, we're not taught to navigate the world like this. It kind of is it's not even, we're just not taught. And so when you start to navigate the world in this way, it does feel very complicated. It is hard to trust yourself. It is hard to feel the nudges. It is hard to, so there is going to be a service coming soon called The Anchor. If you do want information about that, just put something in the comments and I'll reach out to you, or DM me or whatever. I'm not quite there yet, but over the next couple of weeks, probably, we've just got a new moon. Maybe when we get out of eclipse season, so maybe early March. Anyway, it's coming, it's kind of floating. Anyway, let's get on to energy-led health, because I've spent 7 minutes rambling about anything and nothing, but if I felt it needed to be said, then I know somebody needed to hear it. So that's all okay. Health. Okay. Energy-led health is important because I want to be able to optimize my frequency to ensure that I am broadcasting a clear signal to the universe, to you, to my future, because that is what the world is about. And I know we're not taught that. And I know when I say that, people are like, what are you talking about? But you get a microscope on any single thing, you get a microscope on my pen, and you zoom in, and ultimately when you get down to as far as you can go, all you'll see is lots of little cells buzzing around, encased in this kind of space, and or clustered together in this space, and that is what makes up this pen. This pen isn't solid, the table's not solid, the ground's not solid, I'm not solid, you're not solid. We are a collection of cells that have clustered together, and they are moving, they are doing their thing, they are creating a frequency, and that is the frequency that we are putting out into the universe. Now, that frequency goes, as it expands, as it goes out there, it connects to different things, it attracts the same frequency back in, it's magnetic, a whole boatload of stuff. So, if you are not clear in your signal, if you've not got a clear signal, and if you are not optimizing your frequency, then, that isn't gonna work for you, okay? Or it is, but it's not gonna work in the way that you want it to. Okay, so I want you to think about this body, and I've kind of touched on this already. This body is it's a society in itself. It is a moving, regenerating, amazing piece of kit, right? We've got hormone fluctuation in that body. We need the brain and gut to talk to each other. We want a dream. To optimize your frequency, you need your hormones to rise and fall in the correct level, in the correct surges, exactly when is the right moment for them. And I know when I say hormones, everybody thinks about sex hormones. No, there is a hormone that tells you when you're full. There's a hormone that tells you when you're sleepy. It is all of the things, okay? To optimize your frequency, your brain and your gut need to talk to each other. To optimize your frequency, you don't want your adrenals stuck on constant high alert, okay? To optimize your frequency, you don't want this little hum of inflammation disrupting your frequency within the body. And you want to be able to restore yourself fully with a good night's sleep. So when I'm talking about health, I am not necessarily talking about high performance. I'm not, this isn't about life hacks that will make you perform better or, it's not that. That's not my vibe. My vibe is about removing the noise, removing the resistance so that your health flows. And when your health flows, it can expand. Okay, so we're thinking about how do we create that kind of flowful, easy kind of energy where health is not a hassle. It's not something that we have to force ourselves into. It's something that kind of comes naturally. And we do that by releasing resistance to it. The minute you release resistance is the minute you step into that flow. So if you imagine your body as like an orchestra, what you don't want is you don't want the bum notes, okay? You want these really nice kind of notes that are flowing together that create harmony, okay? A harmony in the body. You want your hormones. You want your hormones. I can't say it. You want your hormones. God, that came out very Yorkshire then. Doing what they're meant to do. You want that brain gut axis talking to each other. You want your adrenals. Oh my God, why can't I speak? At the right kind of like level, not kind of in this caught up in this stress. You want to reduce inflammation. You want to do all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure your whole body is functioning optimally, because in doing so, your frequency becomes more powerful. Okay, and that is how humans have power. We do have power, and there is a magic in our world that we are taught to ignore and we are not taught to use and utilize in it, and it is energetics. When you are dysregulated, when there's bum notes coming through, when something isn't quite right, when your body's not functioning how it should, and everything's dysregulated, you're going to be feeling things like brain fog. You're going to be not wanting to get out of bed in the morning. You're going to be snoozing the alarm. Okay, you're not going to be feeling rested. You're going to be feeling exhausted all the time. And you're going to feel this constant sense of off, which is where I am. And it's where I've been for a while now. All of those things really affect your ability to navigate your life and to create your future. So if you want to be in control of your life, if you want to be in control of what you're creating in the future, if you have goals, if you have life goals, you need to be thinking about how this impacts that. Because when you are not well, okay, when you are not, and when I talk about not being well, I do mean this like really optimal wellness. When you're not well, you're kind of, let's go back to another analogy of mine. So I do have an analogy that we are receivers and transmitters of energy, okay? Just like a radio in your car is a receiver and a transmitter of sound frequency, you are a receiver and a transmitter of frequency. Now, when you are not functioning optimally, when your body is not functioning optimally, that reception dulls, okay? the energy is drowned out by cortisol spikes. The energy is drowned out by the hum of inflammation, things like blood sugar crashes, things like that. It's all affecting your ability to receive the frequency and to tune into the frequency, you know? The other side of that is that your transmission of frequency weakens, you know? Things like if you're not sleeping well, okay? Things like if you've got deconditioned muscles, if your nervous system is constantly braced, you know, you're constantly stressed at work, you're constantly stressed at life, you know? That means your energy field is inconsistent. Your energy is dulled. So you're not tuned into receiving energy. So let's just put this into a little bit of perspective, right? If you're tuned into a radio frequency, so you're tuned into a frequency, right? So your frequency is, I want to live, I don't know, the happiest life possible. That's the frequency you want to be tuned into, okay? But your transmission, your transmitter is weak. So you can't transmit that energy out to the universe to say, I want to live the happiest life possible. I want to live the happiest life possible. I want to live the happiest life possible. And so when the happiest life possible is, you know, out there and you're trying to tune into it, okay, you're not creating a strong enough signal to tune into it. So it can't come to you. Okay, and even if it does come to you, because your reception, your receiving ability of that frequency is dulled, even if it does come to you, you won't notice it, so you won't kind of connect to it. Okay, so that is why it's really, really important to really focus in on your health. I've put a strong and regulated body means that the energy nudges are clean and easy to pick up on. Breathing naturally deepens. We're not shallow breathing anymore. The spine straightens, the shoulders go back, you know, your posture changes. You're in an energy of quiet alertness rather than adrenaline flowing through the system. Your body feels stronger, you're more alert and you're more happy, you know? So that's why it is important to focus in on your frequency and to understand how your health actually impacts the frequency. Now, if you are someone like me who just feels like worn out all the time and like I can't get over it because I'm not focused on it. I am focused on it. Because I'm focused on it, I'm bringing more of it in. What I need to focus on is I need to flip that. We talked about this in a couple of videos recently. Instead of going, oh God, I'm so tired all the time, we need to focus on, I'm gonna feel, you know, I will feel vibrant. I am feeling vibrant. We've got to bring that life force energy to us by changing the focus, okay? And I've written here, this was a really interesting piece. The higher self knows your capacity, okay? Knows who you are meant to be. Knows who you are at your most expansive and your most limitless, okay? So your higher self knows exactly who you should be, and you are not being as healthy as you should. So the higher self is constantly nudging you and telling you, trying to pull you into alignment with your own health. And the more that you, shall we say, stay unhealthy and the more that you pull against that, the more you are tiring yourself out by fighting within you, by having these two different frequencies. Your higher self who knows the perfect frequency for you to live on, and then the frequency that you're living on, which is down here. Your conflicting frequencies. Conflicting frequencies causes friction, it causes effort, and it causes tiredness and fatigue. Okay. So I've written down a few things that I thought were really interesting when they came through. So let's talk through them. So your nervous system. So feeling safe in your life is something that's been coming up for me quite a lot recently. I mean, a lot. I mean, it literally seems to come up every other week for me at the moment. Are you safe? Are you feeling safe? Because often in this society, we don't feel safe. You know, do you feel safe to express yourself on social media without someone jumping in the comments and having a go? Do you feel safe to express yourself in your work environment without someone judging you or telling you you're wrong? Do you feel safe within your relationships to speak about things without someone saying, oh, you know, that's it then, I'm out of here kind of vibe? You know, that level of safety, we are, our nervous systems are under attack every single day. Every time you put the news on, you know, there is a spread of fear, there's a spread of you know, like troubles and issues and things. So we're not safe even when we're sat in bed in the morning and we put the TV on. We're not safe because, you know, it's spreading fear. So safety is a really, really important thing, and getting to the point of having a regulated nervous system will create a clearer reception, okay, and a clearer transmission. Muscle. You can't read my own writing. Not variety, hormonal insurance, not vanity. So muscles, so what I'm kind of saying here is it's not vanity to work out and to build muscle. It is actually hormonal insurance. You know, your muscles have quite a lot to do with hormones. And muscle, building muscle increases your capacity to hold on to your voltage, your frequency, your buzz, you know. Blood sugar instability, should I say, is the saboteur of intuition. Blood sugar spikes feel like anxiety. They show up like anxiety in the body. And then the crashes kind of feel like laziness, tiredness, lack of motivation. So when you've got that kind of thing going on, you can't be regulated in what is your energy. You see, this is, they're always all over the place. This is the key. To live an energy-led life, to be the receiver and the transmitter of frequency, you have to be able to receive frequency, and you have to be able to transmit frequency, okay? And if you are receiving frequency, absorbing it and holding it and keeping it in your body, when you transmit, your frequency is impacted by what you've absorbed and what you are holding on to. So that is kind of, you know, when you're with others, they transmit a frequency, you absorb it. If you don't release it, you know, have you ever been with someone who is like in a really bad mood, and by the time you've spent an hour or two with them, you're in a bad mood because you've absorbed their frequency. And now the frequency that you're giving off isn't your true frequency. It's your frequency, but it's been brought down by what you've absorbed from them. Now, the same thing happens in the body. If you are in your body receiving or blurring your own frequency, then what you are transmitting isn't going to be clean. So you can transmit that you want more abundance, more wealth, more this, more that, more the other. But if that is dulled and dimmed and muddled up because of the amount of information that you've pulled in from other people, because your hormones are all over the place, because your nervous system's dysregulated, then what you push out isn't going to be clear to connect to what you need to connect to. Whew. Deep sleep, I've written, to let the instrument recalibrate. Sleep equals signal clarity. Anti-inflammatory living. Inflammation is static in the system. It blunts intuition. Again, we're talking about this frequency. You know, the frequency you put out is the frequency that you get back. That's what creates your future. So if you're putting out something that's blurry and full of static, then you're not going to create the future that you want. And then I've put water. Water is the conductor. Dehydration equals signal distortion. Even mild 1 to 2% dehydration reduces cognitive clarity. Now, I knew that. That didn't come from, I don't know, my soul. That came from just knowing. So if you're not drinking water, water conducts the frequency. So if you're not drinking water, then there's just no movement. There's just no movement. And then that brings me into the lymphatic system. So your lymphatic system is the system that drains toxins from your body. Now, I believe not only does it drain toxins, i.e., you know, there might have been some toxin in the air, toxin in the food, whatever. It also drains toxic energy that you're holding on to. So if you're on, it doesn't have a pump like the heart, you have to get the lymphatic system going, and you do that by movement. So if you're not moving and you're living a very static life, you are holding on to all this frequency. There's no movement in the system. So that's the end of my notes from this morning. And I want to say that this isn't anything that I don't already know. This is coming to me from a different perspective and a different angle right now. As you may have understood from my previous videos, I believe that we are on a cycle of growth, a cycle of evolution, and we're moving up, 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 up. And what happens sometimes if health is over here, what happens is as we're going through that cycle of evolution, we connect back into health, we learn something else, we dig back into it, we go deeper into it, and then we move up a level, and again we hit health, and again we hit health, and again we hit health. I don't believe that you ever crack it. And even if I was the most super healthy person like I have been in the past before, you know, things happen and they bring us back around to focus on it. And right now it's one of the things that is on my mind, and I'm clearly having to realign at the moment for some reason. Now, I know I am not the healthiest at the moment. I know I've been a lot healthier than what I am right now. And there is always a reason for that. So what I mean by that is there's a reason I'm not so healthy right now, and maybe that's because I need to rebuild it in a different way. Maybe the way that I built it before wasn't sustainable, so maybe I need to build it in a different way. Maybe I've moved into a different era of my life and I have to think about it in a slightly different way to what I was before. There is a reason why we come back to these things, and oftentimes it's to do with our growth and our evolution. It is to do with our growth and our evolution. It's not oftentimes, it is. So, you know, if you are being drawn to this video, it's probably worth thinking about a little bit. And once I've nailed it, I might create like a little bit of a mini course or something on it, because I think it's really important, and I think I've got a lot to say about health and the body and the way that we treat our body and the way that we look at our body and the perspective that we have on it from society. You know, the fact that we don't have a relationship with it, the fact that we don't trust it, the fact that we want to punish it for not looking how it should, the fact that, you know, yeah, there's so much that I have to say on this, but now isn't the right time. So yeah, so that's me done, ending it there. Feel free to drop any comments down below if you are, you know, if you are so inclined. And I will see you tomorrow. It's Friday tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow for my diary of the week. It's been a week.